Core Class was one of my favorite additions to the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom toy line after we got the Micromasters and the Battlemasters in Siege and Earthrise, which I wasn't too huge of a fan of. And now, the Core Class has started to drift over into Studio Series as well. And with that, we've got two new additions to the Studio Series 86 line, Ratchet and Wheelie. How's it going, everyone? Deceptibot9 here, and thank you for joining me back on the channel yet again. Now, before we get too far into it, go ahead, if you like what you see, leave me a like. If you want to see more of Transformer reviews, all the other types of content I have up here, go ahead and subscribe so you can stay tuned as well. It really does truly help me out a lot. Plus, if you want to follow me on any of my other social medias, you can find me at Deceptibot9 on TikTok and at Deceptibot9 Reviews on Instagram. Alright. So, I was strolling through Target the other day, and what do you know? They had Studio Series 86 Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie out on the shelves. And I was pretty excited to find these guys because Ratchet looks really cool, and Wheelie is a much better upgrade of a modern Wheelie than we get from the Grimlock Wheelie, which is not very good. Plus, Wheelie is one of my wife's favorite Transformers, so I gotta have him in the house. But with all that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie. Alright, and here we are with a closer look at Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie. And I gotta say, these two are really, really awesome. Honestly, probably some of my favorite additions to Core Class. Obviously, Ratchet being a small-scale version of a traditional G1 character, which I have been having a ton of fun with those versions as well. And Wheelie, of course, being an in-scale character here as well, which I've been having a great time with those ones as well. Ravage from Studio Series is great, and Iguanus from Legacy is great as well. And Wheelie is a fantastic addition to those as well. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a look individually at them. We're going to go ahead and start with Ratchet. Alright, coming in with a closer look at the details of Ratchet here, you can see he's got a very Ratchet looking head sculpt. You can see some silver paint, some gray paint up here at the top, plus some little blue eyes down there. Coming down to the chest, we get a nice blue painted windshield and windscreen on the sides. The shoulders, we're actually getting our Autobot symbol, plus some health emergency decor on him, which doesn't really happen all that much anymore. He's got red painted hands, which look tremendous. These guns here are painted in a nice silver coming to the back. We're getting red paint here on the light bar. We get silver on the bumper, which we'll see more in vehicle mode, obviously. Red on the waist. He's done in white all the way through. And just like I've worried about for some recent figures, I really hope that this white plastic that they use on Ratchet here is of the better variety and not of the yellowing variety, because he is made up practically of this white plastic all the way through. So I hope that stands. You can see some nice detail coming here in on the legs, plus two little wheels there on the side. Not much going on the back of the legs, but Ratchet looks really awesome for a tiny little guy. I think he came out really, really well done. To see how he looks with the other Core Class figures, here's how he looks with Optimus Prime and Hot Rod, both of which are, smaller scale G1 figures done in the Core Class, obviously. And they're the only two Autobots we have received so far in Core Class for this mini G1 scale. But these three all look pretty good together. Adding in all of the Core Class G1 Decepticons into the back there. This is a great looking bunch. I think all of these figures are really, really a whole lot of fun. Some of them are really exceptional versions of these characters as well, like Prime and Soundwave and Starscream, and now Ratchet. But yeah, this is a great shot. I can't wait to keep adding more smaller scale G1 characters into my Core Class collection. Alright, before we get to transformation, I'm going to show off articulation on Ratchet in robot mode because it's pretty packed for a Core Class guy. So head on a swivel just rotates all the way around. Arms right here on the shoulder are on ball joints, so they can go all the way around and they can kind of go up and down a little bit. They go backwards. That's mostly for transformation, but you also get up here. Their arm is connected to a ball joint to the shoulder unit, so it can go out all the way like that. Plus, it can rotate all the way around, obviously. Every ball joint can be a swivel. Shout out to Jabi. The elbow bend is well above 90 for how it goes, which is incredible. Nothing on the wrist, but obviously at this small scale, there's not much you can do there. There is a waist, or I should say an ab twist, but it is locked down by the back plate. So if you lift up the back plate a little bit, then you can free up that waist turn, which is a whole lot of fun as well. Plus he has a little bit of an ab crunch you can rock out to. Legs are on ball joints, so they can kick forward that far. They can kick backwards all the way that far as well, which is great. He can do a full split because it is required of him for transformation, but also being on ball joints helps. They got ball joints here at the knees, which because of the back kibble on the knees don't allow them to go very far, but that's all right. They can obviously also swivel all the way around, tilt, do that fun stuff. There is nothing on the foot. It's just flat right there. Honestly, that might be my one gripe with him, is that there's not really much going on with his feet. It's just kind of a slab of plastic there, but overall it is not bad. Plus these two guns you're seeing here, those are the only two accessories that Ratchet comes with, besides the cardboard backdrop if you're going to use that. All right, here we go. Let's hit transformation really fast on Ratchet. I gotta say, that transformation is probably one of the best core class transformations that I've dealt with so far. It is so much fun, and it's really, really cool the way they get those legs to all fold up and condense and then fold out to become the ambulance. It looks very reminiscent of what is going to be happening with the upcoming Voyager class Ironhide, and it's really safe to say that this Ratchet will be turned into Ironhide, and that Ironhide will be turned into Ratchet as well. So that will be really, really fun. But now that we've got a 360 look at him, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the details of the little ambulance. All right, so here it is. Not many more details have been exposed, except for the fact that you get some more windows. And I will say this is probably my one disappointment about the vehicle mode, but I can understand why they didn't do it. Obviously, they painted the windshields up here blue because it looks great in robot mode, obviously. But all of these other windows right here are not painted because they form parts of the leg in robot mode, so it might look a little weird having those in robot mode, so the vehicle mode has to suffer a little bit. And as you saw in the transformation bit, the guns do have these nice square tabs on them that connect right here to the side of the ambulance, so in case you need your ambulance to be weaponized, you can certainly weaponize it. But yeah, this is a great little ambulance mode as well. It's a lot of fun to hold. It's a great little size. So let's see it compared to the other vehicle modes of G1 Core Class. All right, here is Ratchet next to Optimus Prime and Hot Rod, which scale seems like it might be a little out of whack. I'm not sure an ambulance is that big compared to a flat-nosed bed truck, but compared to a futuristic car, that could be accurate. Maybe it's a little too small, but who cares about scale in Core Class? Core Class is all about fun. And coming in here and adding the Decepticons just makes this whole group so much more fun. I am loving the small scale G1 figures in Core Class. They are all just a whole heck of a lot of fun. All right, that's going to be all for Ratchet. Let's go ahead and move on over to Wheelie. All right, and here is Wheelie, and I gotta say, I was really surprised when they said they were going to do a Core Class Wheelie because I figured him being an accessory to Grimlock meant that we were never going to see this figure, but I have to say, I am really glad that he exists because he is so much fun. I love this Wheelie a whole lot. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the details of him, shall we? So up here at the head, of course, it is very classic Wheelie. We got nice orange paint, gray paint, and a little bit of blue going on in there in his eyes, and some silver paint for the face. Coming down, most of the body is done in this sort of more mandarin orange type color, and we get, of course, this more muted orange here on the chest. We get, of course, his Autobot symbol, plus we get silver hands here. Coming around to the back, you get the blue for what will become his windshield in his car mode. He got this butt flap that sticks out, which it's a lot bigger looking in pictures and in video than it actually kind of is in person. It doesn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to, and it's no big deal. He's got a little bit of a dumpy, who cares? Coming down here to the feet, we get some nice gray on the kneecaps and on the feet. So overall, Wheelie looks really nice. The only accessory that he does come with is, of course, his slingshot. What else do you expect Wheelie to come with? And unlike the other Wheelie, he is chock full of posability. So up here at the head, it is just kind of on a swivel. It's on a ball joint, but you can't really get a lot of ball jointness out of it unless it's going back due to the transformation, because it's also on a hinge. Shoulders up here are on ball joints, rotate all the way around. They go out about that much, or you could even lift them as part of the transformation to get a little bit more range out of them too. Elbow is also on a ball joint, which gives you all the swivel and the bend you would expect. No waist swivel on him, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but I understand why it's not there. Legs go forward that far, they go really high, and they go backward not as far because of that butt flap. Plus, he can also go almost full split. Almost full split, but it's close enough. We'll count it. Bends at the knee right here, of course, because it's on a ball joint, and it rotates all the way around once again because it's on a ball joint. Feet can pose down just like that because it's due to transformation. So let's go ahead and see how Wheelie looks with some other guys. First up, here is the new Wheelie compared to the Wheelie that came with Grimlock. Obviously, this one is crap compared to this one. I think the only thing I like better on this one is that this hand is molded to look like he is pulling his slingshot. I wish that the hand on this one was also doing that rather than being a fisted hand with a peg. But if you want Wheelie to hold his slingshot in either hand, I understand why you would want to do that. Get this guy out of here. Speaking of Grimlock, here's how Wheelie looks with his Dinobot buddies in their dino modes. Obviously, this is great. This is pretty accurate in terms of scale. I do not have Sludge yet at the time of this recording, but it looks great. He looks super cool with the Dinobots all up in their dino modes. And if you want to get Wheelie onto Grimlock, you can kind of finagle him to get into the same pose. You can kind of bend his knees and split the legs out a little bit, and you can kind of rest him on Grimlock. He doesn't really stay. You can kind of wiggle your way around to get him to stay if you try. Yeah, sort of like that, something like that, like he's riding him. So you can get Wheelie going on Grimlock, but obviously if you want him to be in that typical riding pose, you're going to have to use the crap Wheelie. All right, let's go ahead and get into Wheelie's transformation. Transformation is actually a blast. I really like transforming this Wheelie. There's a lot of fun packed into it with the way his head flips in and his legs fold around to the front and his hands flip back. It is a lot of fun, and you can see that his little car mode here looks really, really great overall. There is one major gripe about it, and it's one thing that who knows if it could have been avoided, but it's a core class figure, so I let it slide. That obviously being the fact that his hands are sticking out straight of the back there. But again, it's a Core Class figure. It was only $10, so I'm not going to complain too much about it because I think he looks really great. He is really fun to hold in this mode, and he's got a great shape to him. You can obviously see that he has some weapon storage, which is a plus. Just plugs in right under the bottom of that butt flap there. So overall, I mean, I think Wheelie is really neat. There's not much to say about this mode. Obviously, everything kind of tucks up, conceals here. It just looks really neat. It's really fun. Obviously, it's got wheels. It can roll, all that fun stuff. And, you know, it actually transforms, so it is much better than the Wheelie that came with Grimlock. I'm not sure why they even added that when they were going to give us this anyway. Maybe they weren't going to give us this until they saw that we were not happy with that other one, but what can you do? Just for a comparison really quick, here is Wheelie next to his wave mate Ratchet. You can see they're honestly about the same size in terms of length, but obviously Ratchet's got the height difference on him. He is sticking up over the top of him. They're two very different vehicles, obviously, but I would say they look great together, but they're not really meant to go together. Once again, to give you a sense of scale, here is Wheelie next to his Dinobot buddies Grimlock and Slug if they were trudging along and Wheelie needed to transform into his car mode. They all look really nice together. Alright, that is going to do it for a closer look at Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and throw it back up to me for my final thoughts. Alright, what are my final thoughts on these two little guys, on Ratchet and Wheelie? Well, overall, I gotta say, I think they are two of the best entries that we have had in the Core Class so far. In terms of the little G1 aesthetic, guys, I think Ratchet probably is my favorite. I think it's a really neat and ingenious transformation. He looks great and has a lot of posability in robot mode, plus he looks great and feels great in his little ambulance mode. Wheelie, on the other hand, is just so much fun. I love having now a full transforming Wheelie rather than the one that came with Grimlock, and there's something about his car mode that I just really love. It is a whole lot of fun. I forgot to mention it in the close-up, but if you flip open his cockpit here in the vehicle mode, his head is just sticking right in there as a fun little homage to the G1 Wheelie toy. So I think these are both great additions to your Core Class collection. If you're getting the G1 guys, definitely get Ratchet. Plus, I think Wheelie is an absolute essential figure to your Studio Series 86 collection. Alright everyone, that is going to do it for my full detailed review of Studio Series 86 Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie. Go ahead and let me know what you think of these two figures down below. Do you have them? If you do, what do you think about them overall? If you don't have them yet, do you plan on picking either of these two guys up? Like I was saying in the review, guys, I love these. They're so much fun. So, like always, thank you all for watching all the way to the very end. I have been your host, Deceptibot9. I really, truly appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you guys later.